Hi everyone, Tim here with TC Home Inspections. This is video number 2 of a 3-part series titled What You Need to Know When Buying an Older Property. And for the purpose of this video series that I'm doing, these are homes primarily built prior to, or I should say all the way up to 1930. So these are things that are commonly brought up during purchases when people are buying an older home. The main thing for you to know is these are important because these items normally cost a lot of money to fix. So these things you should certainly know about. So for this video, number 2, we are going to talk about 3 items. Uneven floors in an older home. We're going to talk about the waste system of that older home. And then finally, the presence of asbestos. So those are the 3 topics for this video, so let's get right into it. Well, when you are buying a home that was built prior to 1930, I can tell you right now, unless the home has been completely gutted right down to the studs, you're probably going to have some floors in that home that are not perfectly level. Generally, there's not a big problem with that. But what I do is I always like to set expectations and let my clients know that these items may exist and these are things that you should know about. So in most cases, if the home is in very good condition, even if it's older, in most homes, expect uneven floors. Now they can be uneven for a number of reasons, and I'll just give you a few examples. When homes were built prior to 1930, they often used lumber from the lumber yards. So they were not kiln dried in many cases, in most cases, and they were not exactly sized perfectly like wood members are today. And in other words, a 2x6 in older homes is a full 2x6 in size. Whereas if you went to a lumber yard today to get a 2x6, it's not going to be a full 2x6. But taking that in consideration, in an older home, every floor is going to be, or every floor joist is going to be slightly off. They're not going to be perfectly sized due to wood contracting over time, and also due to the fact when they were sawed in the lumber yards, they certainly weren't done perfectly. So it is natural for an older home prior to 1930 to have uneven floors because of that. Other reasons could be just naturally settling over time. Many older homes are built with stones and mortar, and they will settle over time. And when that happens, the floors can often be unlevel. But the main thing to know is your inspection company should be able to look at that foundation, look at the wood members in that home to make sure they're in good condition so that you're not going to experience a lot of movement in that home once you buy it. So again, wood floors in an older home, absolutely, it's very common. Doesn't mean the home is in bad condition. Sewer lines, number 2. This is an item that we've talked about in other videos, but in an older home, it's particularly important. If your home is in town and it's built prior to 1930, unless the whole sewer line system has been replaced to PVC, it's going to be a combination of cast iron and clay. And in our service area, which is the northwest side of Michigan, clay is a common used material. Now there's nothing inherently wrong with clay other than when it's put down in sections, those sections will start to leak over time as that system ages. And when they leak, it attracts tree roots. Tree roots can get in there and really cause a lot of havoc with that sewer line. When you buy an older home, you own that sewer line from the clean out inside the home all the way to the municipal hookup. So those things are really important for you to know about. I would recommend you work with your realtor or your attorney, find out when those sewer lines have been cleaned or maintained last so you know they're in good condition. And at our company, if you inquire with your realtor's help and you're not able to get that information, we would recommend that you have us drop the endoscopic camera down that sewer line, inspect the internal condition of it so you know that system is in good shape. In our service area, it is very common for people to clean out their sewer lines that are made of clay every 4 to 5 years. And that is something you should know about before you purchase an older home. Sewer lines can be very expensive to repair. And then the last item I'm going to talk about in this video has to do with the presence of asbestos. So I can just tell you right now, again, if this home you're buying is built prior to 1930, and it is a home that has not had many changes to it, in other words, it hasn't been gutted out or hasn't had extensive remodel on the inside, I can tell you without even looking at it, it has asbestos inside of it. Now, the main thing to know is almost 50% of the homes in the United States right now, older homes, most of them have asbestos. So let me correct myself. Over 50% of the homes in the United States, depending on where you live, are of this age. And I can tell you that the majority of them have asbestos in there. And the way I can be so confident about that is because asbestos was used in so many different building materials. Insulative materials, mudding on the walls, floors, tiles, ceiling materials, siding, and the list just goes on. The reason asbestos was so commonly used is because the darn stuff lasts. It's resilient. And because of that, people would incorporate asbestos into many building materials. So nowadays, very little asbestos is used. In most homes, almost none is used. Asbestos can still be used in certain parts of our country in things like gaskets, but its use is very limited. But here's what you need to know about asbestos when you buy an older home. Just know, again, it's probably got asbestos in it, and what you need to know is that asbestos static inside that home? The phrase or the term that the EPA uses is friability. In other words, is the asbestos-containing material loose? Could it become airborne? Is it friable so that you could actually inhale it into your lung tissue? That's the biggest concern with asbestos. It's not if you have it, you're going to have it in an older home, but how often is it friable? Is it loose? And as the inspection company goes through that home, if they see any powdery substance on the walls or the floor, anywhere in that home directly under asbestos-containing material, it needs to be cleaned up and mitigated. The other thing about asbestos to know is not only a health issue, but also your budget. You cannot come into a home that's older, tear out asbestos-containing materials, and throw it in a traditional landfill. It's got to be specialized abatement. It has to be specially disposed of in a specially treated area. And because of that reason, it can be very expensive to mitigate. The main thing to know about asbestos is what we see in our service area, where it really costs people the most money is in regard to exterior siding. And the main thing to know is most contractors in our service area will first tell their clients to cover it with a new siding material. If it does need to be removed because you're altering the exterior of the home significantly, that's when it gets very expensive because you have to dispose of it. So just know this, older homes have asbestos. How you handle it is very important for both safety and monetary reasons. So those are the three things that I wanted to talk about on this video. Again, this is video series number 2, what you need to know about buying an older home. And I hope this is helpful. Certainly there's a lot of things to think about when you buy an older home. And like I said on the previous video, we know why people buy older homes. We get it. First of all, sometimes if you want to live in town, you don't have an option. Homes are older in small towns throughout the United States. But the main thing to know is that they have a lot of character and beauty. In our service area, the wood can't be matched in a beautiful older home. White pine is very commonly used. Yellow pine is used. Harder wood species like oak and maple are commonly used in homes, and they really provide character and beauty you may not get in a newer structure. So we get it, we understand, but you need to know some additional information about that home so your safety is considered and also your budget is considered. Well, this is Tim with TC Home Inspections. Please give us a thumbs up, write us a review if you'd like to, or ask questions. We'd be happy to help you. And I'm going to do one more series on what you need to know to buy an older home, and that's coming up next. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.